Enjoy a lot.
Guys, can you able to hear me?
No.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
You can able to hear me, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine. I'm just testing the Teams, right? Because last class it was not working, so that's why. Okay, you can leave. Okay. So I'll come within 2 minutes. You can leave the Teams. I'll come within 2 minutes.
Okay, ma'am.
AJ, you can leave the Teams. Okay. Teams leave ചെയ്തോ ഞാനിപ്പോ വരും. Okay, so today we are just going to discuss the theoretical. Okay, so the theoretical parts or the theoretical which I'm going to discuss is right now is what is IAM. So that is called as Identity Access Management. Okay, so when you're talking about Identity Access Management, inside this Identity Access Management, you will be having users, group, policies, and roles. So these are the things we'll be discussing today. Okay. So when you're discussing, imagine this is the organization. Okay. So imagine this is the organization. Okay. So inside this organization, imagine this is IBM. Okay. So there are 5 users. Okay. So there are 3, 4, 5. Okay. So there are 5 users. So these 2 users have already selected in IBM. Okay. So these 2 guys already have selected for IBM. So these guys don't have, means it is not selected for IPF. Okay. So if this user, okay, if the user is accessing, if the user is trying to access this particular IBM, whether they will allow or not. Whether they will allow or not. No, right? Why? Because they don't have the permission. They don't have the permission. But if these guys, if these 2 guys are accessing inside this IBM organization, they can easily access, right? So these guys cannot access. Why? Because they don't have any permission. Okay. So inside this IAM, there are 2 types of users is there. Okay. So first one is root user and second one is IAM user. Okay. So this root user is having full kinds of permission. Having full kinds of permission. But this IAM user is having limited permission. Okay. So this root user is having full kinds of permission, and this IAM user will be having limited permission. So you have already created a console, right? So you already created as a console. So are you created as a root user or as an IAM user? Root user. So you're having full kinds of permission. So root user will be having full kinds of permission. They don't have any limited permission. They'll be having full kinds of permission. So they can easily create the services and they can do whatever they want. Okay. So inside an organization also, there will be there will be a manager will be there. Okay. Inside a company, there will be a manager, right? So manager is considered as what? As a root user. Okay, manager is considered as a root user. So if the manager is creating a particular user, okay, if the manager is creating a particular user, that is called as what? Root. What's this page? Sir. Sir. 54. Yeah. Okay, sir. Yeah, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, I understand, sir. And also, sir, we have to talk to you regarding.
Huh? You two sit there, bro. We do. Black, bro. Oh, video only theoretical. No. that bro, I taken them from. They also from and plan. They three also come from. After that, I will taken some ball. You've taken some stick, bro. It's not yeah, PGC that bed you like break. Bro, which laptop it is? Laptop sheet, bro. Lenovo. Same like yours, huh? Yeah. Same company. Random same. Just keyboard keeping in back and the rest. Then madam and time they can go. Yeah, no, that's why I'm not taking go. Fixer. It can sorry. What is this name, bro? Don't know, bro.
Okay, so imagine in a company there will be a root user. I mean, there will be a manager. So that is considered as what? As a root user. So root user is having full kinds of permission. So if the root user is creating a particular user, that is called as IAM user. Okay. If the root user is creating a particular a user, it's called as IAM user. So this IAM user will be having what? Limited permission. Okay, so this guy will be having limited permissions and everything. So what is happening is that, so a root user will give a security credential like username and password. So with the help of that username and password, this particular IAM user will be accessing. Okay, that is called as what? That is called as users. Okay, so that is called as what? Users. So what are the things that IAM user is creating, or what are the things that the IAM user is doing can be observed by the root user. Why? Because under root user, a particular IAM user is created, right? So they can easily monitor these things and everything. Okay, so that is called as username, and it means with the help of username and password, they can easily access. So once they access, what happens means they have to change the password. That is a very important thing. They have to change the password. Why? Because root user can access anytime, right? So it should not be done. So they can easily, so at the same time they can change the password also. Okay, so this is called as what? As a user. Okay, so when you're talking about, so next concept is what is group. Okay, so group means, imagine inside means you already studied degree and everything, right? So you might be done your projects. So you might be you have worked as a team. Have you done your project?
Yes.
Yes. So you have worked as a team, right? So a group of collection of people or group of collection of user is called as, that means group of collection of users. Okay, is called as what? Group. Okay, so inside this group also we can give the permission. Okay, so when you're talking about next is policies. Okay, so policy is like a permission. Policy is like a permission. So when you're talking about the permissions and everything, what is happening is that inside this permission, what? Okay, imagine this is the user. This is IAM user. Okay, so IAM user is having username and password. Okay, so this IAM user is trying to access in S3. Do you know what is S3? S3, EC2, VPC. These are the services. Okay, so if this IAM user is accessing inside the S3, EC2, VPC and everything, whether they can access or not. Whether they can access or not.
Yes.
How? How can they access? Someone is telling correct only, just make it a little bit loud. Whether they can access on, yes or no?
No.
No. Why? Because there is no permission. If I'm giving permission, imagine if I'm giving permission. Okay, if I'm giving permission only, they can access to particular individual S3, EC2 or VPC. If I'm not giving any permission, imagine I'm giving only S3 permission. They can only access inside the S3 permission. They cannot access inside the EC2 or VPC. So what are the permissions I'm giving for the particular person? That person only can access to the services and everything. But when you're talking about group also, so a permission can be given to a particular single user, or you can give in a group also. Okay, so inside this group, if I'm giving S3 means these every users can access inside the S3. So an individual user also we can give a permission, as well as for the group also we can give the permission. Okay, so that is called as policies. But when you're talking about role, okay, so when you're talking about a role, it's like a one-to-one. Okay, so when you're talking about a role, okay, it's a one-to-one relation. Okay, either you can access service to service. Okay. Otherwise, you can access from account to account. Okay. So what is happening is that imagine root user, the manager is there. Manager is not well. So a manager is telling a particular IAM user. This is root user. Okay. So this is root user. So this root user is telling a particular IAM user that please maintain my account. Okay. If the IAM user wants to maintain root user's account, what they'll give? Username and password. Right. If I'm giving username and password, this IAM user can access anytime, anywhere, right? So instead of giving that, they'll give role and STS permission. That is security token services. Security token services. Okay. So here, what is happening is that if the root user giving permission like IAM user, what will happen is that first, if the root user is giving IAM permission, first you need a trust. Imagine, can you give a username and password of Instagram to me? You can give a. You can give. Then give. I'll check. If you won't give, no. If you're having trust only, you'll give. Same thing is happening over here. If you're having trust only, you can access. They can give. So if there is no trust, means they won't give. So that is called as what? It's a one-to-one. Either it can be service to another service, one account to another account. Okay. So we already discussed what is users, policies, group, rules. So in this, do you have any doubts? In these four things, do you have any doubts? This, do you have any doubts? You're okay with this, right? Okay, fine. So you can write the notes, okay? So the practical starts tomorrow, okay? So by tomorrow, not tomorrow, sorry, Monday. Tomorrow, Monday to Friday, you'll be having classes. Saturday and Sunday, it will be holiday. Every not this 1 or 2 weeks, it will be like Saturdays. After that, Saturdays you have to come for the mock test. Instead of giving this, I'll give one and one. So can you write this one? So IAM is an identity access management. It is a web service that will help you to securely control access to the AWS resources. So IAM is a control authenticate that is signed in and authorized to add a permission to use resources. Okay, so just write, I'll come.
Question चल रहा है मैडम होगा Bro, you see this that I can't see. Not you will see. You're very dull.
എന്തായാലും നമ്മുടേതാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് one day. Not one day, day one. No, bro, daily weekend. Every weekend. Because injuries still helping.
No, bro.
He is what?
What month? What that?
Anything.
Anything,
Everything we share. One day, one Achani. Imagine Achani. But I would even be a good share. He left to figure out the and I ready and I say, like, I can not some to say, I think
roads are already problem.
Done. So when you're talking about IAM user, it is a way to interact with AWS resources. So 5,000 users can create in a single AWS account. So there are two types of way to access inside the management console. So I'll teach you that one. Okay, so first one is AWS managed console. So you know how to access inside the portal, right? So that is the first one. And second one is programmatical, that is CLI. So I'll show you that one also. Okay. So when you're talking about IAM user, I've written this, all right?
भाई मैंने सबका नाम भूल गया एक और बार भूल सकता हूँ
Just wait. Okay. Done. Okay. So when you're talking about IAM users is a group of collection of users. So 300 group can be created in a single AWS account. So inside your AWS portal also, you can create up to 300 groups. If you're creating more than 300 groups, it is not possible to create it. Okay. So when you're talking about role means a role is a temporary access for identity or a resources. We can attach a permission to that role. So IAM role is up to 12 hours using the IAM console or CLI. So when you get a practical section, you'll get more knowledge regarding these things and everything. Okay. So you can write this one. Okay. So IAM role is a temporary access for identity or a resources. So we can attach a permission to that role. IAM role up to 12 hours using the IAM console or CLI. Okay. Then done. So this is not important. Okay. Okay. So in this scenario, do you have any doubts? In this scenario, do you have any doubts? No, right? So നിങ്ങൾ Monday മൂന്നാളിൽ ആപ്പ് കൊണ്ടിരിക്കും. So is there any doubts?